middle of what's called the gig economy. We're on the cusp of the machine economy, if you guys are familiar with it. And in India, it's poised to have its own challenges. India produces one Australia every year, and that coupled with the other two statements is what gives rise to tremendous opportunity for India. And there's a great line by Sun Tzu in The Art of War, which I strongly recommend all the entrepreneurs to read. In tremendous chaos lies terrific opportunity. And that's the beauty of India. Right? The problems that mires this country with transportation, logistics, clean energy, water, last mile, logistics, will only be solved by Indian entrepreneurs, the guys who are here. And the confluence of T-Hub's radar, our roadmap of amazing programs that we're launching, along with this tremendous vision that the challenge offers, is one of the first programs we're kicking off, and arguably the best program that we have in our fiscal year. We'll have an accelerator taking off at the end of the program. We have a market validation program. We have a market access program. With our partners, we'll be sending folks to the valley, etc. And that's where it becomes incredibly exciting for the entrepreneurs who are looking forward to participate in this. We're also putting together a permanent IITI lab, which are very excited. Thank you for that. And that's what makes this entire journey super exciting.
I want to end that actually goes to show you what is possible when meeting of the minds happens and things can actually be put in place. Gaurav, thank you very much. I think this was your first visit to T-Hub. So I hope you like the experience, and I hope you take it back right to the Prime Minister. Tell him also what Telangana is doing. Even before he said Startup India, we've actually started and we are up and running. Today, in fact, Gaurav, I should tell you, we are possibly the state in terms of innovation, in terms of just encouraging a lot of young minds to basically give wings to their aspirations. We have definitely done a lot of work in the last 1 year or so, but there's a lot more to be done. Like I think Devjani was saying, this is just the beginning. We've only barely scratched the surface. It's a long way to go. Thank you very much for being here. CP, I'm finally glad to see you, because we've been really wanting to get into a room with you and really talk about NASSCOM. And I want to also remind you that Tech Mahindra's largest human resource pool is in Hyderabad.
So, Honorable Minister, I took over as the NASSCOM chairman.
Thank you, CP, for finally seeing us. But मैंने सुना है कि गुड़गांव का भी नाम बदल गया, गुरुग्राम बन गया।
तो गुरुनानी के कारण
हम लोग भी सोच रहे हैं वैसे तेलंगाना को टेलीग्राम बनाना। I don't think there's much in name, but I think what really matters is how we work together. We're very, very delighted, CP, that somebody from Hyderabad has actually become NASSCOM chairman after maybe, I don't know, this year. We're very glad because we're going to be co-hosting the World Congress IT block with NASSCOM. Thank you for bringing it to Hyderabad. It is another marquee event which we're very proud of, and we'll be doing everything in our capacity to make it a very big event. Jayesh, Jay, Srini, of course, PJN and Ajit, I can't, we couldn't have done this without you guys, especially Ajit, because we, as soon as this new state actually came into being, on 2nd June 2014, the first pit stop was ISB, because we wanted to leverage and tap into Ajit's wealth of experience and also our IIT tech expertise. Therefore, today what you see we have here is basically a culmination of all these very, very interesting and very, very impressive and very, very agile kind of minds who actually wanted to do more. I'm also glad to have Itu Koluri here, who is from the valley. He's actually a Hyderabadi who's very, very, very big in the valley. In fact, he is the managing partner of NEA. And for those of you startups, those of you guys who are looking for funding, Itu is going to be here for the next 1 hour. Bombarding, and he'll ensure that he actually opens up for a few questions. Thank you one and all. I'm just coming here of another very interesting kind of initiative that we just launched. ZF, which is an automotive engineering company, in fact a $30 billion company, has just launched its tech center, largest of its kind in India, in Hyderabad that is. And we only believe. When Jay and the team of T-Hub started looking at different verticals to focus on, with respect to innovation, because as Devjani said, there are plenty of problems in India, and as Jay said, there is always solutions in the chaos, and I think the key there is actually to get chaos more organized. As Mark Tully, I think, has said it. I think India is organized chaos, and it's a wonder that it actually works the way it does. So there are 9 verticals we've picked up from among the many plethora of possibilities, one of which is actually automotive and also transport and mobility activities. We picked 9 verticals and we started working on several of them, and I'm extremely delighted that today, when Jay told me initially IFDI, he mentioned IFDI, because we keep hearing FDI so much these days. I thought it had something to do with it, but finally figured that Intel and DSP are actually coming out with a program in tandem with MyGov, where you actually wanted to impress and ensure that young Indians actually get a voice, get their voice heard. I'm very delighted because the Innovate for Digital India challenge and the overall idea of Digital India is certainly something that's extremely impressive. Coming right from the Honorable Prime Minister, who talks about innovation, who talks about global companies coming out of India, I think therein itself, in fact, providing leadership from right from the top, lies the key, because ultimately, Prime Minister spoke about 10,000 crore startup fund. He also is talking about setting up more and more, encouraging more and more private sector incubators, and also encouraging a lot of research and innovation. So we are working in similar lines. In fact, our vision and our ambition is much larger than Digital India. In fact, Digital Telangana's ambition, Jayesh possibly will explain to you a bit later, but we have 2 facets to it. One, obviously the digital infrastructure side. In fact, we will be the first state in the country in about 1.5 years from now to have provided a broadband connection to each and every one of our 9 million households as part of a drinking water project that we are doing. In fact, we are piggybacking on the drinking water project. We are going to be laying about 150,000 kilometers of water pipelines, and we are ensuring that the OFC is also laid in the same trench, thereby saving costs and also providing wonderful digital connectivity to every household. The second thing we are also doing on a massive scale, we are possibly again one of the pioneers in this, digital literacy campaigns across the state of Telangana. In fact, our target is to ensure that out of 9 million households in Telangana, we want at least 1 person to be digitally completely literate. So literacy combined with infrastructure will, we believe, will spark more thoughts, more ideas. Like someone said, the best way of pulling out the best idea is to have as many ideas as you can. And as you have these ideas, compete with each other, talk to each other, and as young minds come together, I think the only way India can progress and India can leapfrog. I really respect what Honorable Prime Minister has done in terms of MyGov. I think it's a brilliant platform that he's built. His overall Digital India campaign and ensuring public-private partnership also happens. I just read this morning about a statement from Mr. Nitin Gadkari, the Union Transport Minister, that he is planning a DigiLocker wherein license and other things can be stored. But I'm also happy to share with you, we've already done it. In fact, M-Wallet, the mobile wallet of our Regional Road Transport Authority here, has been downloaded 12 lakh times. And in fact, it's one of the largest downloaded government apps in Google and other app stores also. Point I'm trying to make is, there are already solutions that have been found out and there are already solutions that have been created in various parts of the country. I think where DETI, DSP, MyGov can really help is without us having to reinvent the wheel. If we can have the states and Government of India work together, we don't really have to reinvent the wheel on a lot of counts. We can pick up best practices from across the state, across different parts of the country. In fact, your theme for innovation fits in nicely with ours because as a state, we keep saying innovate, incubate, and also incorporate. There are some states with limitations, for example, Goa. Goa is a small state. In fact, we are entering into an MOU on the 16th of this month with Goa. It goes to show you how states can work together also from different parts of the country. Goa is a small state, but it's a very creative kind of state. We all love Goa, right? For variety of reasons. Goa is a very creative state. It's got a fantastic platform to offer. But unfortunately, it's got its own limitations in terms of space, in terms of what companies can do in terms of expansion, etc. So we are entering into an MOU with the government of Goa to ensure that whoever innovates in Goa can also incorporate Telangana. But these are the synergies that we need to explore between different states, between between Government of India and also state governments across the country. So once again, Devjani, Mr. Mittal, Gaurav ji, thank you very much for choosing Hyderabad. Thank you very much for choosing T-Hub. We are launching the second phase of T-Hub very, very soon. In fact, in November, the first anniversary of T-Hub. The second most exciting thing we are doing, in fact, something very which I'm very kicked about, is also, and we've been discussing with our own guys in the valley like Kitu, is we are actually launching an outpost of T-Hub in the valley on the 11th of October. The reason why we are doing it, is, again, I keep quoting this example, and I might sound a little repetitive to some of those who've heard me before. When WhatsApp got valued at $90 billion, I think a lot of people fell off the chair. A WhatsApp in India, would it have gotten the same valuation? Possibly no. So what matters really is, I think, to be in the right place at the right time. And I think Sandal Road still, that's where you are, right? Sandal Road is still the place where I think the venture capitalists of the world, the valley, still live and work out. So to be able to showcase some of these bright Indian startups in the right venue, the right forum, actually will help. So T-Hub will not just be a feeder for entrepreneurs and startups from Hyderabad. In fact, T-Hub has larger ambition, and it wants to be the gateway for all startups in India, for all startups, and it wants to be the feeder for Indian startups into the valley as well. So with the support of our wonderful venture capitalists, angel investors of Indian origin and otherwise in Silicon Valley, we hope to bridge this gap. In fact, we're going to call it T-Bridge, by the way, a bridge between India and the valley, and it will be launched on the 11th of October. So I look forward to sharing more and more success stories about T-Hub, innovation, and entrepreneurship with all of you from time to time. Once again, thank you very much for choosing T-Hub, and have a wonderful stay. Thank you.
For those of you who read Yes Minister, sometime in the beginning of the series, the new minister takes office and says that he believes in an open government. So his secretary tells him that, Minister, this is a contradiction in terms. Either you can be open or you can have a government. Now, given the fact that governments have traditionally been viewed as being very, very procedure-bound, process-driven, not really caring about what the outcome of these various initiatives is going to be. It's quite a bit of a refreshing change to be working in an organization like MIDER, which is driven by the Prime Minister's own vision in terms of what a modern government should be like. As you're all aware, the Prime Minister himself is very, very tech-savvy. He's got a fantastic presence on various social media, and in his tenure as Chief Minister and subsequently as Prime Minister as well, he has been greatly involved in using technology for better governance and better administration. Now, e-governance efforts have been going on for a couple of decades now, and of course Hyderabad has been one of the pioneer cities where these efforts first came about. But in addition to e-governance, there was also this thought that there should be a platform where the people of the country could come together and talk about the issues which really bother them. Almost all of you would be there on various social media, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all, and most of the time you will probably be sharing your, of course, birthday photographs and party invitations and stuff. But in addition to that, you would also be using them to talk about the things that exercise your mind. Your flight gets delayed, you don't get a good response to a particular service that you're seeking from the government, from the private sector, whatever, but you just use that as a medium to complain about it. But then many of you would also be having these thoughts that, okay, if I were to be implementing this particular program, maybe I could do this, which would improve that program. And this is what we are trying to do here in Hyderabad. So this platform, which has reached out to more than 2.2 crore people now, more than 2.2 crore people have come to the platform, viewed the various activities, more than 36 lakh of them have participated in various activities, submitted ideas, submitted suggestions on government's policies, government's proposed programs. And many of those ideas have been taken into account. The Union budget has reflected some of them, some of the ministries, the policy documents that are coming out, the new education policy, national health policy. These are all documents that have in incorporated many of the ideas that have come in from the field. But then if we are looking at only getting these ideas, should we also not be looking at doing something to convert those ideas into action? Because as Vijay mentioned, that's the biggest gap. As a country, we are full of intelligent, smart people who keep having brainwaves on a daily basis. But then to convert those brainwaves into actionable items and to actually get those results is something that where we've actually been lacking a bit. Even somebody like Ramcharan, one of the prominent management thinkers, keeps saying that one of the problems that we face here in India is that the execution capability seems to be a little underdeveloped compared to the thinking ability. So last year when Dr. Mittal and his team and Intel came to us and said that instead of just keeping Micro as a platform for getting ideas, why don't we also try to see if we can convert those ideas into action? Now that is again government being very, very domain bound. The easy answer would have been, boss, ये तो DST का काम है. So our job is to get the ideas and your job is to actually convert them into action. So हमको इस रफ्ते में मटा. Then the more we thought about it and the more we interacted with them and found the kind of enthusiasm, we found that it actually makes sense to start branching out into the solutions domain as well. So not just getting ideas, but also trying to help handhold those ideas into some products, some projects, some services that meet a felt need. Now when we talk about felt needs, and especially whenever we are talking about innovation or modern governance, again one of the first thoughts which comes to mind is that IT solutions are the way to go. But IT solutions, are they an end by themselves, or are they actually supposed to be serving some larger social need? And when we are talking about social needs, it's not really restricted to something as to how your schools operate or your public health system operates, but anything which impacts the citizens in any manner, if that problem is identified and if that solution is implemented, then it serves a social cause as well. Of course, it makes business even better, but social causes and business sense are not entirely differentiated from each other. They are actually two facets of the same coin. So anyhow, we went about launching this program. We launched it and we were hoping that maybe we'll be happy with about 200 or 300 ideas which come in. It will also make it easy for us to go through those ideas and shortlist them and start deciding which ones to handhold onto the end. For the first about 3 weeks or so, we were
when we applied, we were not sure whether it would be a part of it. But it took us till Rashtrapati Bhavan. That shows, grassroots level interest has been considered for this. So secondly, once when you are into this process in partnership with the MyGo, DST, CIE, supported by Intel and all the ecosystem partners like TCS, we realized that our idea has no much of a business model in it. We were mentored by some of the top startup gurus like Andre and Mo from the Berkeley universities and Harvard universities, and that make us to be ruthless about our own ideas, and we should be evaluate very well. We realize that although our solutions are creating some value to the end users who are the farmers, the value without volume doesn't make much sense. So we need to roll out in a manner that, especially the social innovations, should be rolled out in a manner that it can be observed by the needy people easily. So we provided this various Intel technology devices when we were part of an incubation. I kept the K.Tarakrama site for 2-3 days, and then I'd gone through the just a brochure of the device. I realized that it was a small device. They have written some of the components on top of it. It has the memory, it has the RAM, it has Bluetooth and hotspot features. I was thinking, why don't you use this device to use as a dissemination tool? Why don't we put our apps into it? The miracle happened. We could come up with our own device, which we operate. We named it as an agri board. Since we launched it in 2016 Jan, We have already sold a couple of hundred devices across India and Africa. We have made a significant revenues as well. And today, our broad-specific mobile applications are reaching one farmer almost every 4th minute. So this would have not happened without this particular, DST event. Thank you so much.
And my dear friends, this is H.K.Mittal from H.K.Mittal Bangalore. We are trying to solve the problem of epilepsy. India has about 1 crore people with epilepsy and about 3 crore with other kinds of neurological disorders. And we have only about 3,665 neurologists in the country. The neurologists stay in the metros, the patients stay in the rural areas. 70-80% of the people with neurological disorders stay in the rural areas. And the government of India in 2015 spent about 168 billion, which is Arab, that kind of money, on providing health to the government hospitals and so on, in treating the neurological disorders. So we are trying to come up with a solution that will help predict epilepsy, help give a prediction before somebody becomes unwell, provide early detection, and also help in the management of epilepsy. We're starting off with epilepsy starting December. We're rolling off to other neurological disorders. And this entire journey of mine has been inspired by my own son trying to treat epilepsy. Now coming to the IFDI program, ladies and gentlemen, last year in 2015, June, July, I had zero confidence in myself. My son was unwell. He was mainly diagnosed with refractory or hard to treat epilepsy. Everything was falling in pieces around me. I believed that I had failed as a mother, as a woman. The life was in shutters. Then I applied for this program, and I was not sure what I was doing in my life. And I applied because I got 2 calls from someone who was organizing this program. I had no idea about this program. So I blindly applied for it. But from a pool of 1,900 applicants, as we inched forward, I believe that I got back my confidence. I had worked for several years, and last year I had completely lost everything that I had gained in 18 years of working. So slowly, as we moved to this program, as we worked with different mentors, worked with met some of the top people in the country, in the industry, worked with mentors from Intel, I slowly got back my life. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to share with you that very much ahead of schedule, we are going to launch our remote consulting program from the northeast of the country, which is going to provide 3 lakh people with epilepsy relief, and it's going to connect these people with some of the best neurologists in the country. So we were supposed to release it in April, but it is coming out next month. We are for the community. We have come up with the tagline of it. It's time to give to the society. So when we worked on our project, we really struggled. We didn't even know how to interpret some of the processors and the sensors. So we have built for the first time in the country medical grade sensors that any people who are interested in healthcare could use, and it's just plug and play. We have all the hacks that's required to create a medical device for you, all the sensors, right up to the registers, op-amps, and everything, including a cutter, so that you can easily use to start creating your product. So what took us about 9 months to achieve, you can do this in a few days if you have a good vision. So ladies and gentlemen, this program for me was a catalyst. It was a change that absolutely transformed me. It showed me what I am as a person, what I am capable of, and the fact that I can lead and I can really, really rise from all the bad things that is happening in my life. So I would encourage everybody to participate. And last but not the least, I would like to thank Devjani, our awesome team.
Today what happens is that all the service centers that we have primarily have services delivered to people through a center-based model. What Entrepreneurship is doing is taking this to the door of the citizens and doing it by telling people what they are eligible for. So last year when we started in August, we just started off with an idea, and through the competition, through the guidance, mentoring of Intel, DST, TII, all of the partners, we reached the stage where we essentially got the grant to build the prototype in 3 months, the milestones that you were set, and by December we had a partnership with the Rajasthan government. We are currently in operations in Rajasthan. We are also working with some of the partners like Tata's and a couple of others in Maharashtra and are working there. And to kind of complete the circle, just last week we signed an MOU with Intel under one of the projects.
Well, first of all, I must compliment the city. The city of Hyderabad has the maximum number of incubators in the country. 10 of these incubators are there in the city, starting with the CRESAT, ISP, now University of Hyderabad. I'll come to T-Hub a little later because I have a story. ICICI Knowledge Park, IIIT Hyderabad, BITS Pilani Hyderabad, and IIT Hyderabad. All these places we have supported an incubator. T-Hub, in the last meeting, T-Hub gave its proposal to the National Expert Advisory Committee. And before the presenter, Rama here, he was making the presentation. So before he could even start the presentation, the chairman said, "Your case is done." That was the reputation of T-Hub, because all the committee members knew about T-Hub. I have no hesitation in saying that this is one of the best incubation facilities in the world. So the committee didn't have to actually look at anything. Coming to our partnership with Intel, it's almost a decade old. We never used to work with the private sector. Typical government mentality, private sector, क्यों काम करने का? And their MD at that point of time, I have mentioned this story many number of times, but I would like to do it again. I had a fear that Intel will actually take away all the ideas of these bright young minds and they will exploit those ideas. So that's the fear I had.
And they call it Intel itself.
That was a good one. Their MD was Mr. Frank Jones. So I openly told him that this is my fear. So first he laughed. He said, "Mr. Mittal, it doesn't make sense for Intel to get into a business with a turnover of less than $1 billion. So, and for your comfort's sake, I will say $500 million. And imagine 10 years back, those numbers I didn't even understand what $1 billion meant. So I was very happy. I said, "Chalo koi baat nahi, if they work with Intel and get to $500 million, they will be capable enough to not to let their idea get taken away." So that was the beginning of the partnership. You heard 3 success stories. I will now like to tell you a story from our first program which was right here in Hyderabad. This young boy was Subramani. Subramani was a student of Mr. Rangnekar at ISB Hyderabad. He was a biotechnologist and he was working with Biocon in Bangalore, and he quit that and came to do his MBA at ISB Hyderabad. He created artificial flowers made out of paper which looked like, felt like and smelled like real flowers. It's an amazing story. You have now a flower made out of paper. When you touch that, it gives you that cold, wet feeling when you touch a real flower. Because he has coated the paper with a hygroscopic enzyme. Hygroscopic means which absorbs moisture from the air. So it was coated with that enzyme. Using a nanotech-based spray, the fragrance would last for about 3 years. So now you have natural looking flowers which would stay fresh for 3 years. So he created this. And then Intel and GST had the first program together, and there was a global competition which Intel had organized at UC Berkeley. So this boy was sent to UC Berkeley for the competition. When he landed at San Francisco airport, he was carrying a bunch of these flowers, about 20-30 of these flowers he was carrying. He was passing through the customs at the quarter 9, and suddenly the officer there shouts, "Hey young man, where are you going? Come here." So he was puzzled. So he immediately started taking out the papers. "I have this invitation letter." He said, "I'm not talking about that. Why are you carrying these flowers inside US? Don't you know you can't carry any plant material inside US?" He said, "But these are artificial flowers." He said, "Come on man, they are looking like real flowers. They are smelling like real flowers. You come on." He was taken aside. So then he was stopped at the airport, San Francisco airport, for 4 hours. So finally the botanist was called, he did the dissection, gave him a certificate that these are artificial flowers. Then everybody was very happy. They posed the customs and the botanist, they posed the photographs in those flowers. In the evening he went to a florist to pick up a similar looking flower, like a natural flower, so that he could continue the jewelry the next day. So the florist got, since he was taking time, the florist got irritated. He said, "Come on man, pick up a flower and leave." He said, "No, this is an artificial flower and I want a similar looking flower." So he said, the florist was experienced enough, he could make out the difference. He said, "This is the artificial flower." So he said, "How many of these you are carrying?" The florist asked. Second was that photograph with the customs and the water line authority. The third one was the order which he had received from the florist, and the fourth one was the copy of the check. Needless to say, Subramani was a winner in that competition. Hold on the slab, the story doesn't end here. The story in fact begins from here. Where are these flowers made? These flowers are made in a remote village across the river Ganges in Bihar, where fisherwomen used to cut and stitch fishing nets. And because they have nimble fingers, they are making these flowers. Subramani at one point of time was exporting these flowers to 36 countries. And the income level of these poor fisherwomen went up by 400 rupees per day. That is how technology, great ideas can actually benefit people at the base of the ground. This is possible. I have hundreds and hundreds of stories like this, but I know, number one, I should not test your patience. Number two, I can't take that kind of time. But let me point to you 2 or 3 more things. We have been supporting incubators in app development in various programs which are there. It is good. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But can we also now look at real life problems, issues that are facing us, going beyond. This program is actually meant for going beyond just the app development. It is solving real life issues, real life problems, where you get the best of the mentorship, the best of the advice, the best of the hand-holding. And I was very impressed when this lady talked about that. It gave me back that confidence. I think if we can do that with this program, we have done, we have achieved, we have reached. Rest everything will fall in place. It is the confidence which we have. Let me take a 30-second commercial break and talk about some of our own programs. It's customary to do that. We have recently launched a program called NIDI. NIDI is National Initiative for Development and Harnessing of Innovation. It has 8 components. Starting from the idea stage to go to the market stage. The first program which we have is called Prayas, or it actually starts with grand challenges. Grand challenges which we do and support, like the Power of Ideas which we do with the Economic Times, the Eureka which we support at IIT Bombay, the Innovation program that we have with IIT Calcutta. So there are various programs like the grand challenges. In fact, now we are Mr. Gaurav, when he is here, with him, we are thinking of launching a challenge for challenges. As to what are the challenges that face the country. Let's first document that. So that's what we are trying to do. The second component there is Prayas. Prayas is very complicated full form. It has prototype for young and aspiring innovators, something like that. So Prayas is this is anchored in IIT Bombay, where if you have an idea and you want to develop a prototype, we will give you a support of 10 lakh rupees. This is a grant. This is not an investment. This is an outright grant of 10 lakh rupees. run this program will also have a fab lab, a fabrication lab, where they can actually come and work. That's the second program. The third program which we have recently launched is some of the students in institutions of higher learning, IITs and IIMs, they have taken loans and they are from middle class, lower middle class families where they want immediate employment to service that loan. We have given a sustenance allowance for a period of 1 year of 30,000 rupees to these students who actually start on an entrepreneurial journey. So this is the third program which we have launched. Fourth, we have enhanced the scope of the incubator. Where we earlier used to provide a funding of 3 to 5 crores. Now we are providing a funding between 10 to 15 crores for setting up an incubator at an academy. The next program which we have is the seed support system, where if you come to an incubator, you can get an investment up to 1 crore of rupees as a startup directly from the incubator. Because the financial institutions, banks, do not sometimes understand and appreciate ideas that are innovative and ideas that have technology behind it. Well, why we are doing all this in public-private partnership? Let's admit, we have been working with the academic institutions. Leave aside few like ISBI and Ahmedabad, etc. Most of our educational institutions are not businesses. They are academic professors. They do not know how to do business. In government, we less said the better. We also don't know how to do business. So there has to be somebody who actually holds your hand and takes you forward. So Intel is that part. Intel who understands business. If Intel doesn't understand business, I think nobody else does. So that's the partnership which actually you have the technical knowledge, you have the academic knowledge, and then there is an industry partner in the form of Intel. Well, there are examples of success, and I really wish that all of you who are here, or those who are listening and participating in this program, will actually benefit from this program and make use of this program in their success story. I urge each one of you to participate, and so that I have more stories to tell, like Subramanian. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for joining us.
Do you want the layer getting down also? Okay. You and I are I'm only worried that you got your back. That I know. The young Ram will have to hold me up.
Jay, go ahead.
The current devices, the problem is current devices measure only one parameter. So it's difficult for the healthcare workers. This measures
it measures the BP, ECG, blood glucose, thermometer, all indicators.
So we are now
Does it make the cost to make one?
The cost is around 3,000 per unit, and we target
And it's a battery operated.
Wi-Fi.
This can be used in the rural areas. Given to the ASHA workers. Focusing it to be given to the ASHA workers in the rural areas. Why don't you connect them to Mr. Tiwari and health department? And this is actually
Yes, sure.
Where are you located?
We are from Chennai.
My ID is there. You should please reach out to him, and he'll help you connect all the dots within the government. All the best.
I just quickly exchange copies.